You are listening to the Happy Healthy Leadership Podcast with Kathy Williams. Here you will learn to be physically, mentally, and emotionally fit. The focus is not just being healthy by the doctor's standards, but being the best version of yourself you can be, empowering you to be a great leader for your family and your team.
You are listening to Healthy Leadership, Episode 3. All right, today I want to talk to you about the concept of your belief system and how do you go about changing your beliefs. So if you think about beliefs are something that are deeply rooted inside of you. Most of your beliefs are probably created between the ages of 1 and 6 years old. And a lot of times belief systems are so deeply rooted, they will fall along a core system of, I'm not loved for who I am. People don't like me for who I am. The world's not safe. And we have these deeply rooted belief system that your subconscious has pulled and held on to because, as I've talked about before, is your subconscious is going to do everything it can to keep you feeling love, safe, and belong. As I coach other clients, I find that when I talk to them about their personal lives, between their weight loss goals and how they interact with their employees to people that are above them, what's really interesting is that same belief system is affecting their life, and it will have a negative impact on them. And what we need to start doing is we need to start breaking that belief system down. So one of the ways that I explain your belief system is imagine the game Jenga. And you have all these little tiny pieces of Jenga. And so imagine when you are 3 years old, you started creating this belief system of something so simple. Let's say you were crying because you needed something, but your parents were off helping your brother doing something. And at that moment, you thought that you weren't good enough. Now, it's a silly belief if you think about this as a 3-year-old, because of course your parents were still loving you and they still cared about you, but at that moment, you might have created that belief. So you had that one piece that you believed in is, I'm not safe. What do I need to do? And you're gonna start trying to keep safe and belong. But what happens is once you believe something, you are going to continue to look for things to prove your belief system. So throughout your life, you're going to continue to find something. Oh, I can't be loved for who I am. That person didn't invite me to their birthday party. I'm not loved for who I am. And you're going to do this throughout your youth ages, your teenage years, your early 20s. And how it looks right now is, as an adult and as a leader, you might have somebody that makes a comment or makes a face off of something you suggested or a new initiative you want. And your brain already so naturally going to say, they don't like me for who I am. And I'm not good enough. And it's so interesting because that look from the employee or that coworker, whoever that was, it seems so real to you that it is true to you. So that's our belief system. We have this big, huge tower of something in a way that we build up and it's keeping us safe, but it also harms us because what's happening is we're gonna be more defensive. So let's say that person we'll use that example of that look on somebody's face. Now, that is a circumstance. Somebody had a scowl on their face. But what you did is you made it believe that they didn't like my idea. You made a deeper meaning about yourself. And then it creates emotion. And what will be interesting is if you look at how you act, is how did you actually act towards that employee after they made that face? But what's interesting is what we need to do is start breaking down that belief system, because what really the scowl on this face happened is, imagine this other person has their own belief towers now set up Imagine that we're all wearing different colored sunglasses throughout our entire lives. And we are all looking at all of our life and all of our experiences and every statement that is said through a different color lens. So it's something that you said and you brought this initiative to, and then the employee had the scowl on their face. What's actually happening is maybe this person that had a scowl on their face, they got reacted to something in their belief system that didn't have anything to do with you. But maybe they reacted to another memory that they had. And now their belief system is being protective and they made a face that has nothing to do with you. But you're both being human. Now, you can't control the scowl on anybody's face in there. But what you do have control is, what do you want to believe about that scowl on the person's face? You can believe that they don't like you. You can believe that they hate your idea. But what good is that going to do for you? Do you want to believe that anymore? Does it serve you in any way? Does it make you feel good? And it probably doesn't have any positive effect on you. There's no upside. So I want to challenge you to start looking at what else could be true. Why are you choosing to believe that? That scowl is something about you. Why are you choosing to believe that they don't like you? And what you're going to do is you're going to start looking at and seeing what else can be possible. Well, maybe they were reminded of another bad experience they had. And I want you to notice, if you put that maybe in there and the what ifs, maybe they could be thinking of something else, and allow yourself to slowly just allowing a little bit of room. How does that change your feelings? Does that change you from a really bad negative feeling to maybe a little bit more of a neutral feeling? And what you're going to start doing is you're going to start allowing yourself to saying, this isn't true, but I want to believe that this employee actually does like me, but maybe there's something there's something about it they want to see different. And if you have that curiosity and you start building that block up there, a lot of times you're going to be able to communicate better. Hey, I noticed you had a scowl on your face after I did that. What are your thoughts about this? You're going to be able to accept that feedback a little bit better. You're going to be able to communicate better with them without being defensive and attacking this person. So we talk about these belief towers in here. So you've created one Jenga piece in this new tower. And now what you're going to have to do is you have to be really intentional about taking that daily process to build up this new tower. You have to continue to look for examples in your life where you can start believing this new thought you want to believe of maybe I am good enough. It's going to take that daily affirmation of, take 5 minutes a day, actually, I'm going to challenge you. 5 minutes a day, maybe it's only 2 minutes if you can, but if you can, at least 5 minutes a day, to start noticing, how am I believing that I'm not good enough? How am I not believing that the world's out against me? To start saying, well, maybe I am good enough maybe I can learn this. This is what I have done in my life. And notice that you're human. You're going to naturally go back to this belief tower that is a stronger tower for you. And it takes time. And think about it. I mean, if you are 40 years old and you've been building this belief tower for 40 years, it's not going to change overnight. Dr. Carolyn Leaf actually talks about it takes 63 days to change a habit. And what she does is she actually goes into the neuropsychology of breaking apart that belief system and how do you start building different neuropses to start creating a new belief system. You can actually start acting in different ways. So breaking it down of these belief systems, how do you start believing new beliefs? One, you have to start really being aware. Go back to those emotions. You're going to start noticing the way you're acting, maybe a negative feeling, and you have to actually start going back to, what do I really believe? What are my thoughts? Because your thoughts are actually going to stem from your rooted beliefs that are deep within you. And then once you start noticing that, it's you that gets to decide, do I want to believe this? Because it's up to you to know what you want to believe in. It's not your parents, it's not your spouse, it's not your kids, it's not people above you or below you, anywhere in your work system. But you are fully in power of believing what you want to believe. Somebody says, hey, you suck at this, you're the one that gets to decide, do I suck at this or not? And if maybe you listen and say, oh, maybe that's not my best, but maybe you can change your thought to, but I want to get better. I'm not the best at this right now, but I have potential. The changing your belief system is finding new thoughts that you can really believe in, that don't repulse you. And it's going to be taking those thoughts and taking little baby steps to start believing new steps. Another example of those belief systems is I talk about with the area of weight loss. So let's say that you look in the mirror and you do not like what you see, and you call yourself fat, and you call yourself ugly. Now, if somebody calls and says that you're beautiful, your subconscious is not going to believe them right now. If you try to tell yourself you're beautiful, you are not going to believe that. Somebody tells you you're skinny, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to say, that's not true. What you need to do is we go through this journey of building a new belief tower, is we need to start with those small thoughts that are believable. So someone that looks in the mirror and says, hey, I'm fat, their next step might say, hey, I have a body. That's all. And you can believe that for a while. And what you might notice is that thought is going to change your emotion. And if your thought gives you a slight positive increase in that emotion, you know it's a thought that you can start practicing. If you find that you can't attach to that thought, if you don't believe it, you need to find something that's true. And through this journey, what you might find is something from, hey, I'm fat, to I have a body. And your next step is, I have a body and I can function, or I have a body and it serves me. And maybe you start going, I have a body that serves me and has potential for more. And then you start taking steps. And as you do it, you have to find something that's believable. And you're going to find that, and you're slowly taking these Jenga pieces with these new thoughts and building it up. And you're going to have your subconscious, remember, at the time, continuing to pull you back to what it knows is safe. And notice it, and acknowledge it, and then remind it. But this is what I'm going to believe to be true. Thank you for protecting me, but that's not true. I do have a body, and I am functional. I can do this. So what do you want to believe about yourself? What do you want to believe about others? Where do your beliefs get in your way? Start noticing. Maybe it's your actions. How are you acting in life, and how do you want to act differently? And if it's those actions, you need to break it down to, how are you feeling when you're acting that certain way, and what are your thoughts behind those actions? Finding that time. And just as if you were going to be going to a gym and getting strong physically, it takes time to get mentally fit. We have to start off small. We can't jump on the treadmill for an hour if you've only been on there for a minute a day. Same thing with mental. You have to start off small. What are those small things you can slowly start believing in? How can you start encouraging yourself in small little ways today? How can you just give yourself gratitude and thankfulness of where you're at today, but also what you have that ability to do in the future? Imagine that future you. Know that I believe in you, and you have that potential. I look forward to talking to you next time.
If you liked what today's lesson was about, learn more by visiting happyhealthyleadership.com. There you can connect with Kathy and start your journey on becoming mentally fit, as well as improving your company's leadership.